Hey, so what's cooking and good looking? Well, there's a lot of changes going on. Yes, there are. Let's talk about that next. Hey, everybody. Dave Edwards, Treasure Valley Dave here. Your great real estate agent by your side when it comes time to buy a home, sell a home, or even relocate right here to the Treasure Valley. So what are we talking about today? You guys heard about all these lawsuits going on, all the changes that are going on, and I thought maybe you'd want to hear what the real deal is. So let's get right to it. So what's changing? I made some notes here because I don't want to miss out on anything here. So the media says that these changes are about that buyers are going to have to pay for their own agents and sellers are going to save thousands of dollars. You heard what Joe Biden said. He said that the fix to unaffordable housing is for buyers' agents to work for nothing.
In addition, last week, the National Association of Realtors agreed for the first time that Americans can negotiate lower commissions when they buy or sell their home. On a typical home purchase, that alone could save folks an average of $10,000 on the sale or purchase. I'm calling on realtors to follow through on lowering their commissions to protect home buyers. I'm calling on realtors to follow through on lowering their commissions to protect home buyers.
See, I wasn't kidding. There it was. So in actuality, what's changing is that buyers will continue to need to buy houses. Sellers will continue to need to sell houses. And both of these groups are going to need professionals to help make this happen. And professionals don't work for free. Well, if they do, you'll probably end up getting what you paid for. Am I right? Yep. So the real change, perhaps after a period of, the fog of confusion, after things kind of settle down, the real change is going to end up being in just some paperwork things, some disclosure things, and some of the technical details of the process. But the big picture is sellers still need to sell, buyers still need to buy, and both sides still need some help. So let's get into that. Let's talk about some of those changes. So one of the big changes is that before an agent can show you a house, you the buyer, whether it's in person or even virtually, a video tour, that you and the agent/brokerage have to have a written agreement that talks about what the buyer side commission/compensation is going to be and how the buyer will ultimately be on the hook to pay for that. So this applies countrywide all across the United States. And this most likely is going to be accomplished with a buyer's representation agreement. And it's going to be very similar to the same buyer's representations agreements that we've seen in the past. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like because the new guidance isn't out, the new details are not out yet, and the new forms are not out yet. So yeah, it's kind of rough on us because it's like we're supposed to be changing here in the next couple of weeks and we have no idea what we're doing. So this is a very similar agreement that you've seen before, and you may have signed it before you went to see any houses with your agent, or you may have signed it just before you put an offer in on a house. But now what's changed there is the timing. Now it has to be done before you show a house. No big deal. So what's the next thing? Well, apparently what this lawsuit and the resulting changes are all about is that sellers don't have to provide money that would ultimately pay for the buyer's agent. So the funny thing is, this really has always been the case. Whether a seller had to at least offer $1, now the seller doesn't have to offer any dollar. So what we're talking about here is a difference of $1 in some cases. And so you know what? This really has always been the case. It's always been negotiable. So this change from a 30,000-foot view really is a big old nothing burger. Hey, we're in a kitchen. Burgers, get it? What does a seller want? And what do these changes do to help achieve that? Well, in my experience, what sellers want is they want their home sold fairly quickly and netting as much money as possible. Does that sound about right? So what goes into netting the most money possible? It's not just what you're offering to pay the buyer's agent. No, there's a whole lot more than that. Low days on the market, being priced right, and the amount of seller contributions to the buyer's side, both for traditional things and now for the buyer's broker/agent. So how do these different things interact with each other? Well, I've pulled some data to show that in the last 90 days of sold homes right here in Canyon County, single family homes of 10 years old or newer. And well, let's just see what this data shows. You're absolutely right, Dave. We've got some great information, some great data here to go over. Let's just take a look at what data we have. We have the days on market, the DOM. We have the original listing dollar amount, the sold dollar amount, the seller contributions, and this is for when the buyer needs help with, say, closing costs or something like that. Co-op, that's the amount of money that the seller agreed to pay to the buyer's side. It could be a percentage or it could be a flat dollar amount. And then we have what that dollar amount is. So it's 3% of the selling price. That's it right there. Then we're making the assumption that the listing side is going to be the same as the buyer side. Doesn't necessarily have to be, but it often is. And then we have what the price change was from the original. Did they get more than they asked for, like we did in this case of the first one? Or did they have to take a cut like they did down here with the negative signs? And then we have the amount of money that was net to the seller from the original asking price. Then we have what the dollar amount cost of the sale was, and that includes the dollar amount that was dropped from the original asking price. Then we have the cost percentage of what it costs to sell this property. And then just for fun, we have what kind of financing it was. So what can we learn from this? Well, this looks like just a jumbled mess. This is originally sorted here in by the original asking price from smallest to biggest. We have 169 entries. But let's sort this in a different way. Days on market. Interesting. We have 0 days on market, 1 days on market, 2 days on market. So what are we seeing? Some kind of a commonality? Is it really have anything to do with the amount that the seller was offering to the buyer side? Well, within a range, I don't see that's making that big of a difference between 3% and 2.5%. Cost of sale is around 5-ish to 6-ish that we're seeing here in these fast days on market. Let's go down here. As we get higher days on market, we're seeing, here's 3 weeks right here. We're seeing, instead of the 5 and 6, we're seeing up here in the 7s, 8s, 9s is what the cost of sale is. And then if it's really on the market a long, long time, let's say 211 days, down here between 100 and 200 days, we're seeing that the cost of the sale is a whole lot more. You know, we're in double-digit categories, 18% almost 14%. And so not only does this cost more, the cost of sale more, but also if there's a mortgage for this 211 days, you know, however many months that is, that's going to be a lot of months. That's what, 7 months of more mortgage payments on top of what they took a cut on over here. So getting the days on market right is really important. Let's also take a look at this information sorted by the cost of sale. But what is it that really has our high cost of sale? What does that look like? Let's go down here to the bottom. 25%, 22%, 19%. And all of these ended up taking a huge, they were overpriced. They took a $124,000 price cut, $85,000 price cut, almost a $90,000 price cut. They were overpriced. Why is that? Maybe because the seller didn't get proper advice from their agent. Maybe the agent came in just to buy the listing. Whatever you say, Mr. Seller, whatever you say, that's what we'll put it at. But there's one more thing I want you to get from all this data. So what we're looking at here is the situation as it stands today before that big lawsuit change kicks in. Here is a tab that shows what changes. All the changes are highlighted in yellow. This is right. We're just changing the name of it from a co-op to it's an additional seller contribution. That's all that's really happening from the 30,000 foot view of things. As it applies to the seller, to the buyer, at the end of the day, what really has changed is just the name of what we call what we've been doing. So that's pretty much it. Back to you, Dave. So that was some pretty interesting stuff. Am I right? So to recap on what we've talked about, sellers can do what they've always been able to do. Yeah, pretty much. sellers need valuable advice from a professional real estate agent to figure out the right balance of pricing the home for sale and for the right amount of seller contributions to the buyer's side to get the home sold quickly. And buyers will need to sign an agreement with their agents spelling out how much compensation the buyer's broker will receive before any home showings can occur. So here's some bonus information that we haven't talked about yet. So thanks to this lawsuit and the settlement and the resulting changes, as apparently with Biden's Justice Department wanting to see even more changes going this same direction, buyer agents will now have to work a lot harder as information regarding the seller's desire to help buyers is now purposely hidden from common view. It's not out there. It's not disclosed. It's going to be very difficult for the buyer's agent to get that information, but it's going to be vital for the buyer to have this information. It's absolutely critical. So the agent's going to have to work double duty to get this information so the buyer can make the best possible decision. And Biden thinks that buyer's agents should get paid less.
I'm calling on realtors to follow through on lowering their commissions to protect home buyers.
And that's going to fix the housing prices? Oh my gosh. So that was some pretty good information, a whole lot of stuff to think about, some new things going on. And hey, while we're talking about new things, got a new t-shirt. My friend Christopher, he sent this to me. It's very Idaho, isn't it? Man, thank you, Christopher. I really appreciate this. It really looks sharp on me. Makes me look a couple pounds lighter too, right? Hey, make sure you guys subscribe to this channel. I appreciate that a lot. Thumbs up and all that kind of good stuff. And give me a call. You're interested in knowing what Idaho is all about? Or maybe you have a house to sell and you want an agent that can really help you do that and understands what all these changes are going to be and what they really mean to you. Give me a call. I'll be glad to help. Anyway, we will see you on the next video.
Hey, thanks for stopping in and learning more about real estate in Nampa, Idaho and the Treasure Valley. If you'd like to learn more, watch this video here next or binge on this playlist. When it comes time to sell a home, buy a home, or even relocate to the Treasure Valley, your Treasure Valley Dave team is your real estate expert by your side, helping you get home.